Hi, well today I'm going to turn a very large green walnut log that I've got just outside in the yard. So I've put the big faceplate on with six number 10 size 2-inch screws, and with a process of trying to put it onto the workmate, figure out how to get it actually up onto the headstock. I've slid the headstock all the way down to the end and put the drop bed on. The block of wood there is to allow me to balance it on there whilst I try and get it onto the screw thread. Try being the operative word, because I just couldn't get the screw thread to take, and trying to do it by myself, it was just too heavy for me to juggle it to get it onto the headstock shaft. So off it came while I hunted around for some blocks of wood that would be slightly better fit to the height that I needed to make sure it went on smoothly. So this time, with a bit of jiggling, I got it right and I could get it on the headstock, so we're good to go. Whether this is all just too heavy for the lathe will become clearer in a minute. It's certainly the biggest and heaviest I've ever put on here. Given the weight of this piece, very important that the grub screws are tightened up on the faceplate, just to make sure that when you slow it down it doesn't unwind and crash into a heap on the floor. So with everything tightened up and checked, make sure it all misses, I put the banjo on with the extended high arm, and time to now spin it up. Standing well away from the firing line, of course, and turning it right down before gently turning it up to the grand sum of about 95 RPM, I think. For strength mainly, I've used the big cast iron bowl tool rest, just to make sure that I've got some meat behind it, as this is going to be a bit bouncy to say the least. A few very tentative push cuts from the outside, just trying to take off the knobbly edge. That seems to be taking forever, so then just trying a few, again very tentative pull cuts, again on the leading outside edge, trying to get it flatter. Well, this is boring at this point. I thought, I think I'm doing this wrong, because this is just going to take forever. But I thought I'd plough on. Hey ho. Well, so much for traditional bowl gouge. I thought this is just going to knacker me, so I thought I'd give it a go with the pointy carbide, because I thought, well, that's taking less off each bite, and that was sort of successful, taking little slot type cuts out of it, but still taking forever. I had another rummage in the drawer of bits and found this slightly weird device that's a Sorby like hollowing system. So it's a carbide tip on a long shaft with a big handle on it that you can use to do a plunge cut and take a cone out the middle of a bowl. Well, that didn't seem to do anything. I couldn't get the angle of that. Never used it before, bought it second hand. Well, probably put it back in the box. So I thought, right, I'll give it one last go. So I got the woodcut hollowing tool out. That's the Proform, I think it's called, which is really good on green wood, and thought, well, I probably should have tried that to start with. And that actually was quite successful, particularly after I opened up the adjustable brass sort of guide on the outside to mean that I could take slightly larger cuts of wood, but still pretty exhausting. So at this point I thought I'd go back to the traditional gouge and just take off the corner, and I thought, well, I might be able to persevere with this. But as you can probably hear, there's beginning to be a pretty nasty clunking, knocking noise. Right, screws have come loose in the faceplate, which is a bit of a sod, so I'll have to tighten them up. In fact, the screws had pulled right out of the wood and had ragged out the holes where the number 10 screws were. So I thought discretion is the better part of valour, and I stopped. So it's back out in the wheelbarrow, PVA'd, and I've got to think again about how to reduce the weight of it or get it more uniform before I put it on the lathe. So all being well, there'll be a part 2 of the video where I've figured out what to do. I don't really want to cut it in half again because it's such a nice big piece, it'd make a fantastic bowl. But equally, I don't want to knacker the bearings on the lathe. So if you've got any suggestions, any of YouTubers that are watching, as to how I should do it, let me know.